Part 2 of the weekly waffle, and never mind Big Kev, we've got Big Dan with a special.
Melbourne Cup book.
Yeah.
150 years. One of the great racing books. If you haven't got it, we've got a special on at the moment. We've got a bit of stock left. Slattering Media. Go to the website. There's a special on. Type in the code Dunedin.
Dunedin.
Yeah, Dunedin, and you can get this home delivered. Yeah. In your home. Yeah. Delivered. $35. Recommended retail.
$1 million.
99.
99. There you go.
Fantastic book. Wonderful stuff. Look at this. The
home shopping show comes to the weekly waffle. Dan, you were in Sydney last week. Now, Skull. There's a new grandstand.
Yes, and
someone should mention that.
Oh well, look, good luck to Randwick. It's fantastic. There was a really great vibe in Sydney about the return to Randwick. They do love Randwick, and it's sort of so central to the city, and it is great for racing that it's up and running. And I think they did a probably really good job under the circumstances to rush it up. Maybe it would have been better to wait, but you know, they had some fairly serious turning issues. It had a draw card, so
yeah, you got to do it.
So, I look forward to seeing it next year. It'll be great.
Black Caviar, is she, my theory is, she's the most underpaid athlete in the world in any sport relative to what she brings through the gates.
Yeah, but it's not, you don't get appearance money in racing. You race for the stake. Well, you possibly should, but it's just, maybe, yeah. Look, I can't believe the American authorities haven't offered them $2 million to come and compete in the Breeders' Cup Turf sprint. Why wouldn't you? She would just turn America on their ear.
Are we saying that no race club is allowed to write a cheque? Is there actually a rule of racing saying they can't write a cheque?
I don't know. I
think they'd probably
possibly an unwritten rule.
Never an unwritten rule.
But you could write a cheque to the owner, I suppose, and say, look, thanks for. You can write a cheque to a trainer to do PR.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I would say Moody is getting a cheque.
So if you're Brisbane and you got a choice, you might be able to get her, fill the place, be worth $5 million, all up, including TV rights and etc. You would say, Peter Moody, could you do a press conference for us and bring the owners along? And what's the going rate for a press conference? $1 million. Well, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you pay them $1 million? 5.5-star ran for twice the amount of money Black Caviar did the week earlier, but Black Caviar filled Randwick because...
the other alternative is, though, you're getting her without paying for her. So why do you need to... You know, if you've got the right races on...
Would you say it's coincidental that they're, at the moment they're going, do I go to Adelaide or Brisbane? Adelaide or Brisbane? We're just tossing up Adelaide or Brisbane. And then they just check the mailbox.
I think it's your scheming little mind.
Nothing wrong with that. I've got a big mind and a little...
It'd be ridiculous, say, for Ascot not to give them a lot of money to come over, and, like the publicity they got last year. And they'll look at it now. Whether they back her up to the fence for Frankel to give her a serve, I don't know. But I'd say...
Is it a racing polo?
Yeah, it's a racing polo. Yeah. It's racing. It's a breeding too. I don't back her up the fence. I don't know, although I think she'd have to stand in lower, because she's only a little fella compared to her. I don't know whether she'll go, and I don't really care. It'd be great if she goes, but I'm happy for her to stay. Happy for her to
stay for another spring, another summer.
I think the conjecture is getting a little bit boring for me. Let's just wait. Exactly.
If she was mine, I'd retire her when she was 15.
15.
15.
Yeah, she's 25 now. Why would you try her after she's 15?
No. Why would you retire her? You're going to make more money racing.
Well, Moody wants to race her on, I'm sure. Manny Stewart wrote that Moody had given the owners an ultimatum. It was an ultimatum with 4 choices. How do you have an ultimatum with 4 choices?
It's very herdy talk, that. Yeah. But on track, looking at Vince Accardi's data, now Rainer Fair burst out of the barriers, as you'd expect it to, but 8 lengths quicker than average up until the 800 metre mark. What that showed, I reckon this is the monkey off the back for Luke Nolan tactically, because in the Lightning Stakes and certainly at Moonee Valley, he didn't have to have any tactics. He was just to be in the right spot. But his tactics were fantastic.
One of his best rides.
Barrier 1, he said, right, I could be cute here. We saw a couple of Fleming we spoke about earlier. 3 back the fence. Nah, I know that horse is going to explode out, so I'll explode out too. That the others can't keep up with me early. That then gives him options, and that's what he did. And then mid-race, it was the speed was sustained. The entire field was walking home. Now, whatever it looked like, I'm telling you, the entire field walked home. Everything in negative territory the last 200. Epaulet that looked like it flew home actually was just running past really knackered horses.
Yeah, and that's you can be deceived. The key to her win was from about just before the rise to the 200.
Yep.
Where she put it on them, and she'd done the work, and that's why if you listen to Luke Nolan after the race, he said, this is the first time for a long time I've made her work early.
Yeah.
So she did it at both ends. It was one of her superior races. I don't know what the time form rating will have. Time form, schmine form. It was a great win.
Yeah, and that's what I wouldn't be surprised. They're also being circumspect about what she does in the future, because these races take a lot out of her, because her history tells you that. That's why she's so lightly raced. So even though she looks like she's doing it easy. Conversely, it's Dundeel. We know he's a champion then, but they walked until the 800 metre mark, and then a horse who's got superior talent anyway to his opposition, when he only has to be asked for a little turn of foot, well, he's going to do what he did.
Well, that's why they were raving about his sectionals were Black Caviar like.
Irrelevant.
Well, first of all, Black Caviar's race was an upside down race, so they weren't going to come home strong. She didn't break 36 coming home, I don't think.
No.
Whereas she's a 33 seconder when she's allowed to do her own thing, and he ran about the same time. So that's because they walked, and he's a superior animal. B graders, maybe C graders behind him, but the way he savaged the line, he never let him go. Like, I've seen horses win by 6 lengths in Group 1 races, but I've never seen one have a track gallop.
I reckon Philippi would have won a lot of derbies on that performance.
Probably.
He would have won a lot of derbies, and he could be the Caulfield Cup horse to follow out of that.
Murray Baker says he's the best horse he's trained, and he's been reluctant to say it. And he trained the Phantom when he was at his peak.
Yeah.
He's always rated the Phantom the best horse he's had. For him to rate this horse as good, the Phantom possibly should have won a Cox Plate, probably should have won a Melbourne Cup. Outstanding horse. It'll be great to see him in the next 12 months if some stud doesn't come in and buy him and ruin our racing life.
It'll be great for racing, taking all these champions to the stud.
Oh, yes. Pierro's going to be so.
Oh, it'd be fantastic for racing.
Great.
We're doing
Great for racing.
Yeah,
never been better placed, you know.
Never been better placed.
Retire all the good horses.
And now the size produce, be very careful again. Vince Accardi's daily sectionals data said mind-bogglingly, stupidly fast-paced early, which cooked both Villaverde and Overreach. Overreach was so brave. I'd be very careful about Guelph and the Champagne Stakes going on that, because over a mile, you know what they do with 2-year-olds? They hold as much as they can.
Worse placed, prepared horse than Villaverde?
Another one?
Okay. I don't know.
He's a very good trainer, Sean.
Fantastic trainer. I think he totally mucked this one up. Totally mucked this one. She should have gone around the kindergarten.
Yeah, or the Blue Diamond to start off the prep. Anyway, I heard Dean Lester put forward that they got the tactics completely reversed. Too far back in the Golden Slipper, too far forward in the size produce. Hard to argue with that.
She's having a thorough vet check in Bendigo, I think, today.
Now, the sales bore me out of my mind, particularly that I'm not in the position to buy a horse. People are.
There was one sold for 30,000 there. You'd have 30 tucked away somewhere.
Would any other organisation outside of racing, imagine Woolworths or Coles, putting its customers to one side while they're trying to woo investors? Now, that's what the racing industry did last week. I saw tweets from punters saying that they couldn't get Manio coverage on Thursday. Ballarat, I wasn't watching, but same at Sandown on Wednesday. Everything was secondary to the Inglis Sales. That if you wanted the Inglis Sales, you could go to Inglis TV, you could go to Channel 7 secondary channel, but you couldn't get a secondary option for Manio coverage. Now, I don't look at Manio, but there are lots of punters who do. It was taken away from them. You can't do that to your customers, Dan.
Well, it wasn't. It wasn't an independent coverage either, because it was paid for by Inglis. Exactly. So you're not going to get an independent coverage. And look, I don't think you'll ever in these circumstances get it, but I'd like to one day get a nice independent coverage of something like the Sales. But
so when one walks in, you say, well, this is by a dingo and it's crap, it'll never win a race at this side of the Black Stump.
Yeah, this sort of Sales are Sales.
Was there any scopy types there? Were there any likely runners?
No, from a running family.
From a running family, yeah.
I'm glad I wasn't sculling. I would have been drunk by... If Sales started 11, I would have been gone by midday on the sculling company. Running family. Look, it's always exciting, and it's great to see all these international people. You know, there's a couple of sheiks walking around. The ones in the jeans and the promotional cap are the sheiks. The plumbers are the ones in the suits coming straight to work. Look, it's great, but to say that as Chris Root said in his story in the Sydney Morning
Herald. Hard hitting.
No, it's just puff piece of nonsense. What, racing's never been better placed because people are spending a lot of money at the sales? Nonsense. There were 19,000 turned up at the Golden Slipper.
Yeah. And 19,000 in the context of AFL footy would be about the 120th best attended game for the year. So
we've got a great stallion at the moment. Everybody wants to own them and race them only because it's stallion lotto. You can buy a colt, and if he wins a Group 1, he's worth 30 or 40 million. These people can afford that. But Joe Bloggs, at the lower end of that sale, a lot of the vendors there and the breeders were really struggling to get their money back.
It's been the punter. It's hasn't been the punter show. I was wanting to pay tribute to the punter show. Now the punter show turns 2 this week. They've been a fantastic show.
Very funny.
Very funny. And what they're showing is how much interesting stuff is available away from the mainstream media. We try and deliver some in the mainstream media and some on the type of stuff we do here. But interesting stuff in racing should be applauded. I'm not trying to step down. So well done to those boys there. But this has been the Weekly Waffle. If you want the stuff for Caulfield, got the black shorts on Dan this week.
Buy the book. Go to the Slattery Media Group.
And
Dunedin is the code.
Black shorts. Get in touch. Twitter, RT Ralphy, the Thoroughbred, and this has been Weekly Waffle.